Hello, my name is Ashley Sanders, and I'm a community organizer organizing Salt Lake against corporate rule of our communities, and also a member of Utah Moms for Clean Air, who I'm speaking for today. Despite an after-tax profit of $14.3 billion last year, the CEO of Rio Tinto, Tom Albanese, recently lamented that his corporation must do a, quote, better job at managing the curse of resource nationalism and the activism of stakeholder engagement. Let me translate that for you. Local people throughout the world are tired of being exploited for profit. They're starting to stand up for themselves, and Rio Tinto doesn't like it. Members of the Utah Moms for Clean Air are in London right now, joining protesters from California, Michigan, Indonesia, Mongolia, Madagascar, and London to bring Mr. Albanese face to face with the curse of resource nationalism. Virtually every country and state where they operate is sending real people to the annual Rio Tinto shareholders meeting to show Mr. Albanese just how much they don't like it. Every adult in Utah knows they have suffered and will likely still suffer for years to come from a culture of greed, corruption, entitlement, and disdain for the little guy that permeated Wall Street, culminating in the collapse of the world economy in 2008. For years, Wall Street lobbyists persuaded Congress to pass laws they knew only they could exploit, and then pushed even those laws to the limit. The average person and taxpayer ended up paying dearly, while those who profited escaped not only unscathed, but now Wall Street bonuses are bigger than ever. There are strong similarities between Wall Street's behavior and Rio Tinto operations in Utah and throughout the world, prompting stiff opposition or resource nationalism, as Mr. Albanese puts it. With a steady increase in the price of metals, the profitability of mining is greater than ever, despite a still depressed economy. The principal beneficiaries are Rio Tinto management in London and stockholders far removed from the consequences of their actions. For years, Rio Tinto has manipulated Utah state agencies, pushed the permitting process to the limit, and operated beyond the constraints and intent of the EPA, the Clean Air Act, and our state implementation plan. Rio Tinto now sees much greater profit potential using this well-worn modus operandi to seek an expansion of the mine. Under the banner of job preservation and the thinly veiled threat of shutting down if they don't get what they want, Rio Tinto has been busier trying to hide their environmental footprint than truly cleaning up their act. If they succeed, the economic and health consequences will be long-lasting and borne by the average Utah citizen for decades to come. Utah and its government leaders have a choice to make on our future. We can continue giving preferential treatment to the big polluters, and Rio Tinto is by far the biggest, which will solidify and perpetuate economic dependency on the extraction industries and will discourage companies that would otherwise bring us cleaner jobs. We can aspire to become the Pittsburgh of the 1950s or the Silicon Valley of the 2020s. Granting Rio Tinto a free ride to pollute more certainly steers us toward becoming the Pittsburgh of decades past. Americans didn't stand up to Wall Street, and we are paying dearly for not having done so. Utah should stand up to Rio Tinto and demand that they start paying the true costs of doing business. We can demand a realistic reclamation bond. We can demand that a small part of the $14.3 billion profit be invested in making Rio Tinto electric generation come from sources that don't pollute air like wind and solar. It's technologically feasible, it will provide new jobs, Rio Tinto can well afford it, and it's clearly the ethical thing to do. If this expansion is such a great idea for Utahns, we ask Mr. Albanese to come to Salt Lake City and debate us. Bring any attorneys, engineers, or whatever experts you think will help make your case and debate us in front of the citizens of Utah. In that debate, we also demand that you tell us why, with such a high profit margin, Rio Tinto can't afford to run their plant on wind and solar energy. Our position is very simple. What is an acceptable business model in the boardrooms of London creates unacceptable pollution for the people here in Utah. Rio Tinto is making more than enough money to significantly reduce its pollution. They should not be allowed to expand until or unless they do so. Thank you.